please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'll be talking about the retrospective analysis of surgical intervention in HSK keratitis. It is a study based on large outcomes of a large cohort. The typical approach for addressing the active HSV keratitis involves medical intervention in the form of topical and oral antivirals, and the neurotrophic keratitis can progress to corneal ulceration and perforation, and it has a potential sequelae and it is managed with supportive surface treatment. The overall prognosis of corneal transplants for herpes simplex keratitis remains uniformly unfavorable. And till date, there are no studies that have been conducted to elucidate the outcome of various surgical interventions in treating the herpes simplex keratitis. And our study therefore addresses this gap by providing a comprehensive description based on a larger sample population. So we included in retrospect the patients who of HSV keratitis who underwent a surgical intervention and were followed up for at least 3 months, and those who were lost to follow up before 3 months were excluded, and all keratitis causing causes other than viral keratitis were excluded. It was a retrospective observational study in which the HSV keratitis patients undergoing surgical intervention from January 2020 till December 2023 were reduced, and the surgeries included were tarsorrhaphy, TABCL, Tenen patch graft, AMG, PKP or DSEC, evisceration, Gunderson flap and K-Pro. The primary outcome was stabilization, that is complete epithelialization on the ocular surface with no recurrence at a minimum of 3 months of the follow-up, and the secondary outcome was improvement in visual acuity at the last follow-up. Failure was described as persistent epithelial defect, corneal melt or perforation, and the recurrence of infection. SPSS version 26 was used for statistical analysis, and p-value of less than 0.05 is considered statistically significant. A total of 1434 patients were included from 2020 January to 23 December, of which 1057 were managed medically and 377 had undergone a surgical intervention. The demographic profile was the most common age was 57.39 years, and 74% were males. 80% had a unilateral presentation, and the episode of HSV keratitis was the first episode as 63%. The most common visual acuity at presentation was hand movement or PR accurate, followed by counting finger visual acuity between CF and 624. And the duration of medical management in weeks was 2 weeks with a range of 0 to 96 weeks. The most common type of viral keratitis was HSV stromal necrotizing keratitis. And the most common indication of surgery was perforated corneal ulcer followed by persistent epithelial defect. Usually it is a clinical diagnosis, therefore scraping was not required in 54% of the patients. A superadded infection was seen in 98 patients, that is 26% of the population. The most common first surgery that was performed was tarsorrhaphy followed by TABCL and TPK, and a second surgery was required in 57% of the patients, of which tarsorrhaphy was the most common surgery followed by TABCL and TPK. Third surgery or a subsequent surgery was required in 35% of the patients, in which the most common was Tenen patch graft followed by OPK and tarsorrhaphy. Primary outcome was achieved in 74% of the patients at the last follow-up of a mean 8.34 months. And there was a statistically significant difference observed in the visual acuity at presentation and the final visual acuity. So our study emphasizes the effectiveness of the less invasive surgical interventions in the management of severe cases of HSV keratitis. And these approaches offer a significant benefit in stabilizing the ocular surface. And despite the complexity, the minimal surgical interventions like TABCL, tarsorrhaphy, and amniotic membrane transplantation demonstrated a significant success in achieving the ocular surface stability. So the take-home message is timely and tailored surgical intervention is required in optimizing the outcomes for individuals with severe HSK and avoiding major surgical interventions like penetrating keratoplasty with poorer outcomes. And the clinician should prioritize these minimally invasive techniques to optimize the outcomes and reduce the complications. The recurrence of HSK is a challenge. Thank you.
all your patients who underwent pancreatic keratoplasty, did we give them prophylactic oral acyclovir?
Yes, sir.
For how much time?
Sir, if they presented with a perforation on the first day, then we had to take them up for if there was a corneal melt or perforation and an emergency surgery was required, then it was done. Otherwise, a minimum of 2 weeks, 5 times a day, oral acyclovir and topical acyclovir was given.
But prophylactic dose after optical.
Yes, sir.
pancreatic
After optical,
keratoplasty
it was given 5 times a day for 2 weeks, followed by twice a day for a longer duration, like 6 months or 1 year.
Yeah, that's what
Yes,
is
sir.
important. because
Yes, sir. Prophylactic
unless you
dose
give-
was given after that.
That's true.
What percentage of your patients, was there any data available that how many percent were already on, since it's a recurrent disease, were already on acyclovir prophylaxis?
Ma'am, we did have at least 40% of the patients who presented to us with who were already on treatment.
BD
from
prophylaxis.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Still there was this thing.
Yes.
And did you try to correlate the ones who had superadded infections with that of increased risk of perforation, or there was no correlation per se in that
There
group?
was no risk. It was mainly in HSV necrotizing keratitis, ma'am, that we saw that there was an increased risk of perforation.
And how do you distinguish between recurrence of HSK versus graft rejection in these patients?
Sorry, sir, I didn't.
Recurrence of herpes versus graft rejection.
Sir, if there is a recurrence, like we would see endothelitis component versus graft rejection would usually, it is dependent on KPs and if we see a rejection line. But if there's mostly if there's an epithelial dendrite or anything, then we would describe it as a recurrence rather than classifying it as a.
Yeah, that's true. If you have a
graft failure.
dendrite, it becomes very crystal clear.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes,
if
sir.
you don't have dendrite, then look for the KPs, whether they are only on the graft or
Graft or
it's
the
on the
graft
host.
host junction if beyond the graft host.